Alright. About the only semi-automatic 22 that I've ever run into that is of any value is the Ruger. This is the Ruger Mark II. The Mark I and the Mark II can be used quite well as a survival gun. If you're caught out somewhere, you can quite easily hit rabbits and squirrels with this at 30 or 40 yards using stingers. Occasionally you can come across other ammunition which will shoot as well, but stingers is what is the ammunition that I used to carry in the tackle box along with this. All right, here we go. Model 1911. Oh, man, yeah. Okay. What do I do with it? I don't see the map. Oh, there it is right there. This is the model 1911 Government 45 Colt. It is, I guess I better explain this. It depends on what you want to do, depends on what kind of a handgun you want. This was not meant to be a target gun. What this was meant to be was a man stopper. You pull the gun, and one shot would take a man down. Then you walk up to him and you shoot him again. In the Spanish-American War, they couldn't take out the hucks because they wrapped themselves with saplings. And the 45 Colt Peacemaker, single action, 1873 model, didn't do the job. And in fact, at the end of the war, when they were shipping the men home, they told them they could take their gun home with them, and if they didn't want it, throw it overboard. And they said it looked like a rainstorm when they threw the guns overboard. Nobody wanted them. The Colt 45 is not the gun that anybody wants. It's not the gun that the gunfighters in the Old West used, and you couldn't get the ammunition for it anyways because the ammunition was restricted to military personnel. Same thing with this. You couldn't own a 45 automatic, and you couldn't find ammunition for it for the longest time. I have this, which is a break open Webley 455, British made. And and I've heard so many stupid people say, oh, it's a break open piece of junk. No, it isn't. Actually, it's one hell of a man stopper. And in the Zulu War, this in many cases saved the lives of hundreds of people because you pulled the gun and you shot somebody at 10 feet with it and it lifted them right off their feet. But they got away from it and went to the 380 simply because this and the 45 intimidated the shooter. It intimidated the shooter to the point where in some cases you couldn't hit a locomotive at 15 feet with it. All right. Let's look in the other. Like I say, it's not a target gun. It's meant to hit a man-sized target. this is a 60s 1911 or Browning high power 9mm 13 shot. And it was meant for the American market. This is a German-built Browning high power. When they took over the Browning factory in, or the FN factory in Belgium, 2 months later they began producing these out of the parts that were in the spare bins, that were in the part bins. There were enough parts to build 60,000 of these complete. And then at that point, as parts began to wear out or began to disappear, then they went and put parts into production, and they put the factory to work building more high powers. This is made out of 5 different Browning high power guns. This has the rare 500-yard tangent rear sight. This has got a deluxe slide. The frame is a military frame for, I can't remember now what country it was. They got rid of the wooden grips and they went to the chocolate brown grips, plastic grips. The magazines have an aluminum follower in it that the Germans made. Now, let's do this. Okay, it goes bang. But put it on half cock and you're fine. Put the condition 1 safety on, and they both go on at the same time. Cock it, put the condition 1 safety on, and it works. It has a double safety. Now, unlike the Browning high power, the Germans, the first thing they eliminated was the magazine safety on the Browning high power. On the Browning high power, if you take the magazine out of it, it won't fire. You have to have a magazine in the gun in order for it to fire. The Germans thought it was about the stupidest thing they ever saw when it came to combat, and I gotta tell you, I agree with them. All of these guns that I've just shown you are all very good picks to use as personal defense, home defense. But remember, a handgun is only really meant to be used at 30 feet or less. It's not meant to shoot 200 yards like John Wayne shooting somebody out of a saddle, at 100 yards. That's all Hollywood bullshit. Where'd I put it? Oh, there it is. Now, these are available today. This is a Makarov. Now this one's called a bicol because it's named after the factory where it's made, and the next to the Baikal, Lake Baikal, and that's because this is the civilian version, which means it has a movable rear sight. The movable rear sight is the only thing different between this and the West German Makarov. That's it. These come in 9 by 18, and the length of the case is 1/1000th of an inch shorter than a 9 by 19 or Browning high power, or not Browning high power, Browning parabellum, or what we call in this country wrongly is 9mm Luger. Now, this, come on. Oh, what am I doing? This has a decock. Okay, now it's decocked, live round in the chamber. This was designed so you could put the mag in, crank the slide, put a round in the chamber, and then hit the decock, and then you can put the mag back in and put another round in the mag and put it back in the gun, and you have a full gun. This is also double action. You don't have to cock the hammer. You can also get a 380 barrel for this, but it's easy enough just to take 1/1000th of an inch off of a 9mm case and then load it. It shoots 30 Makarov. This gun was given to me by a friend who died, and had I known how accurate it was, had I known how accurate the gun was, I probably would be carrying that instead of this. This is a Llama. It's 2/3 the scaled down version of a 45. It's in 380, and it shoots like a house on fire. I don't have to aim it. All I have to do is point and pull the trigger, and I can hit whatever I point at. The Llama, people snub their nose at it. Oh, it's a Spanish-made gun. It's a very, very, very good gun, and I wouldn't give it up. So I carry this rather than the Makarov, just because I was carrying this for 10 years before I got my hands on the Makarov. Does not have a decock on it. Most American guns don't. We haven't become that sophisticated. Now, the other thing that you should also be thinking of is getting a carbine, semi-automatic carbine in the same caliber. This is a Volunteer Arms Commando 45, made in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it shoots the 45 ACP round, uses an M3 grease gun mag, and the other guns that you can get that will match that this is a Caltech, and these are modified 30 or 25 round mags to go into the Caltech, and the gun is not what I would call accurate, but if you can come up with one in cheap enough price, you can use it for self-defense at close range, 30 yards or less. Come on. Now, you can use, that is a ammunition. Okay, this is a quick point, 9mm. That's a 15 round mag, and they've been around for years or so. Accuracy is not very good, but if you're shooting at something as big as a man, 30 less is probably the best distance you can use this at with too much of a problem. Should be aware of the fact that I hand load for all of these guns. Handguns, I do not shoot anything out of a handgun except lead bullets. I do not shoot jacketed bullets out of all of these handguns. And the same thing with carbines. A lead projectile is a better man stopper than these stupid hollow points and all of this. I mean, a hollow point going through a coat will jam up the hollow in the nose of the bullet and it won't expand. You do not want a jacketed bullet to go completely through your target. You want it to go in and stop and transfer its energy into the target. Jacketed bullets were designed and used, full metal jacket, by the military only for one purpose, and that was not to create a severe wound. In other words, you didn't hand in the shoulder and take his arm off, or shoot a man in the head and blow half his skull off. Jacketed, full metal jacketed bullets are not a good idea. Let me see here. Where are they? There you go. Full metal jacketed bullet with a solid nose. That was to not create severe wounds on a soldier. Need to reload. You do not want to buy commercial ammunition. If you're going to buy any kind of ammunition, what you want to buy is surplus military ammo, because it is not downloaded and it is not controlled by these bad assholes at White Laboratory who don't know what they're doing. They've got the ammunition downloaded so far that something like a 45 at 150 yards, you can probably catch the bullet with a good catcher's mitt. On the shotguns, you never want to shoot steel, and if you're going to buy ammo, you want to make sure using a magnet that there isn't steel in the cases, and you're going to find that the ammunition, like a lot of these kids today, they think 35 yards is a long shot. Well, 75 yards with a 20 gauge is a long shot. It's a good shot. You don't want to get into this bull crap about believing everything you hear. Military and police are probably the most ignorant, the stupidest gun people there are. They only really know their issued weapon and don't know anything else. I had a Chicago cop who said, well, I don't like my Makarov, I'm going to sell it because every time I put the safety on, it drops the hammer. I felt like taking the gun away from him and hitting him with it. That's an idiot. That's a decock. You see most cops, like in New York State, most state troopers are shot by their partner in the back of the head or in the back of the neck. I've seen cops struggle with trying to unload a handgun because they have no idea what they're doing. They, beyond that stupid piece of garbage they're carrying called a Glock, they have no idea what they're doing. It's just, it's appalling. So military and police, and most police were former military, I hate to say it, you don't want to think that they're experts. You get some idiot going, oh, you must have been in the military. It has nothing to do with my skill and my knowledge of weapons. And like I say, we could do 100 hours, and I could haul stuff out that you don't really even know exists. Broom handle Mausers and things like that. But this is all pared down to be the optimum of what a person who has not spent 65 or 70 years as a gun handler and what am I trying to say? As a gun handler and as a gunsmith, reloader, this is probably the easiest way or the easiest guns for you to use without killing yourself. Once you get a little more sophisticated, you get a little more knowledge, then you can go out and buy something else. Stay away from side eject shotguns. Stay away from semi-automatic shotguns. You have no idea how much money over the last 50 years I've won with this gun when I I look and I see it's a semi-automatic and I go, I can put 5 rounds out of this quicker than you can out of that semi-automatic. And they bet me that I can't. And by the time they're firing the 3rd round, I've got the whole magazine completely empty on the other The total number of rounds fired in World War II, that increased in Vietnam to over 50,000. And in Afghanistan, the Marine Corps was firing 172 tons of ammunition a day, and they weren't even hitting anything. And the Marines always did turn in a higher amount of ammunition fired with less causes than did the anyone else. So, I don't think I can go any farther. You just, if there's questions, you'll have to get a hold of the person that's running the website and ask the questions, and I can answer them. But this is, single shot shotguns, and double barrel shotguns, if they have a Boss lock, are stronger than any of the other shotguns. 10 gauge, 20 gauge. I just gave my daughter a 20 gauge Spanish made 20 gauge shotgun, which is really a top quality gun. So
be good. We'll tune in next week for another segment.
Yeah.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, next week we're gonna have to work on. We're gonna have to do. Let's see. Next week, I suppose we've done guns. We've done a general. Whatever. One thing we can do next week is if the worst case scenario hits, what are you going to do with your life after that point? How are you going to live? What are you going to do? You're going to sit around for the rest of your life and do nothing? You just saw a live round go in the chamber, and I hit the half cock, and it didn't go bang. So what kind of skills do you have that you can convert into a world that has no electricity or has little electricity? That kind of thing. And that point, we'll talk about how to live. I can also hit upon what you're going to do about heating your house and about making a what am I doing? And about how to make it, or about how to preserve food.
Okay, sounds good. So join us next Saturday as we compile these survival videos and bring you new information that can help you stay alive. Thank you for joining us. Harvey, the American Survivalist.